Champagne unpopped, goggles untoggled. Bucks taking the cup. Does it mean they're back? Also, a QB change. 1 game out of a playoff spot. 3 games to go in the season. We'll go around the Penix move. But before any of that, housekeeping. David Dennis Jr.
Jackie McMullen, you can dock 501 points.
You made a 501 point guarantee. Belichick wouldn't go to UNC. The only guarantee. I'm getting carpal tunnel syndrome right now. No, this is history, people. New all-time lowest score. Jackie Mack had minus 500. David Dennis Jr. now minus 501. Triple digits, and we still go down. Let's go.
He's not on the sideline yet, folks. Not on the sideline yet, America. There's still a chance.
Is there still a chance? That's what I tell myself every night. There's still a chance. A subdued NBA Cup celebration from the Milwaukee Bucks. You gotta love Giannis making sure everybody got their 500,000. The league put out champagne and goggles. Bucks didn't touch it. In the game, a defensive masterpiece holding the Thunder to 81 points. Antetokounmpo triple-double, 26, 19, 10. Bucks secure the league's second cup and banner. As David Dennis Jr.'s score continues to fall to minus 501. And look at me, I'm hands-free right now. Tim Kalisha, what does it mean? And what does it mean for the Bucks' renewed contender status?
Well, I think it might mean a lot. I certainly don't think they're going to go the way of the Lakers, who put a lot of emphasis on this last year and then seemed to run out of gas as if winning the cup was all they had. I think the Bucks have a lot more. I think we learned about them last night. I think I told you it was going to be a great defensive performance.
Yes, you told me something.
I just thought it was going to be Oklahoma City holding the other team to 33% shooting and 15% three-point shooting. Andre Jackson Jr., former 6-point-a-game guy at UConn, he did a great job on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And Giannis did what he does when he's on, which is a lot, which is most of the time. I was surprised Oklahoma City found him that unstoppable, but it did. It almost reminded you of the finals.
Exactly. So answer this for me.
The Bucks can't get back.
Does this mean the Bucks are back? That they can put it together like they have for the last 6 weeks now and win this cup?
Yeah, they've won 12 out of 15. I think they've been looking for something good to happen under Doc Rivers. It's a different team than the one that won it all, but it's got Giannis, you got Lillard, you got Lopez.
Bucks are back,
you got
says
some other good players in the mix.
Despite picking OKC. Someone who did pick Milwaukee in yesterday's panel. Got to give some points to Bill Barnwell. Please, around the horn to you, Bill.
The only person on yesterday's panel who picked the Bucks to win and even said they would have to hit from 3 to make it happen, and they hit 43%
How does
of their
he do
threes
it?
last night against the OKC Thunder. I do believe in this team because they have been so good recently, and that's been without Chris Middleton, who has barely played so far this season, did not play last night because of an illness. Last year, the big three, Lillard, Middleton, Giannis, only played like 18 games together. Didn't play in the postseason when Giannis was out against the Pacers. So if they can be good without their big three altogether, imagine if you get a healthy Middleton back second half of this season. I do believe they can be a contender.
David Dennis Jr., I see you there. Just taking your medicine, and I appreciate that. But still, hold on for one more second. Mina Kimes, around the horn to you. Are the Bucks back with this Cup championship?
I wouldn't put them on the tier of like a Boston, but I would put them right below. And compared to what we saw earlier in the season, that sounds like back to me. What's so encouraging about this win streak generally, Tony, is not just the record, but the way that it looks, pardon me, which is to say last night, what you saw from Milwaukee is exactly what they hoped for when they paired Giannis with Dame. Electric three-point shooting, which has been consistent over the course of the year, their third in three-point percentage, coupled with dominant rebounding. They had an edge on the boards. Now, I will say, a lot of that victory was because Oklahoma City couldn't hit the broadside of the barn, and some of that was defense, but they were also missing a ton of uncontested threes. But I think overall, the style in which they're playing does feel sustainable and gives me confidence in this team going forward, especially given, as Bill said, that they didn't have Middleton.
I have confidence going forward. David Dennis Jr., you're going to get to minus 480 today. Let me see it right now. You're at a deficit, but are the Bucks back?
Yeah, I certainly believe in the Bucks turnaround more than I believe in my own turnaround for the next 30 minutes. And a lot of that, and all of that pretty much goes to what Giannis has been doing. About a month ago, he was being talked about being immature. He did the thing with Jaylen Brown, and I think he heard the noise about what he, was providing for that team, and he turned this season around. I was skeptical. A lot of those wins were against bad Eastern Conference teams that are below 500, but this Oklahoma City Thunder win is a real legitimate win. It's the best win they had of the season, and Giannis is looking like the best player in the league, 32, 10, and 6. We've never seen that stat line across an entire season, and he shot during the tournament 67% from the field. He's shooting 50% from the mid-range. This is Giannis at peak Giannis, and that is the main reason they're contenders. I put them below Boston and even Cleveland right now, but that's a hell of a lot better than they were about a month ago.
Not touching the champagne. Is that dignified sophistication or waste of some champs? Kalishaw?
It's kind of surprising. We watch baseball teams go through round after round after round.
Yeah, that's a little
champagne
annoying.
Celebrations. NBA shouldn't hold it to one, so I'm kind of surprised they didn't go for it.
Giannis just turned 30. That is wisdom. Because let me tell you, champagne in your 30s,
It's different.
It's different.
I'll take your word for it.
In a bad
Bill
way.
Barnwell?
You're in Las Vegas. You know how much alcohol costs outside of the arena in Las Vegas? Take advantage of the free drinks while you can. Bring it with you.
I like that Giannis said last time he had it when they won the championship, it made his tummy feel weird and all these things. He was also housing chicken at the post-game press conference. Maybe that had something to do with it. You can pop some champagne, David Dennis, if you break minus 450. We'll move on. NFL, QB change, 1 game out of a playoff spot, 3 games to go in the season. Let's go around that horn. Michael Penix Jr. in, Kirk Cousins out. Falcons made a call we weren't sure they were going to make. We've asked it in our heads every day for the last month. It finally happened. So Mina Kimes, around the horn to you. Talk me through what we might see with Penix with this first start coming up against the Giants and the Falcons' offense now.
Yeah, so Tony, look, Michael Penix Jr. is a rookie coming in late in the season. I'm not going to promise you that he's going to sling it all over the yard. I can't even promise that he's going to be as good as he was in college. We're certainly not in the NFL, but I can promise you this. He can move, and that is the primary difference between him and the quarterback that he is replacing. It is a big part of why I agree with this change. Michael Penix Jr. is not a dual-threat quarterback. I know he ran a fast 40 at the Combine, but he has what I describe as functional mobility. He can escape pressure. He can execute under center play action. In fact, he had the best QBR throwing off of play action of any prospect his final year at Washington. That has been sorely missing in this Atlanta offense. So just by virtue of his mobility, his ability to run play action, to boot, to escape pressure, this offense is immediately more interesting to me. I also think it's a good offense. There are good skill players. It's a decent offensive line with a good run game. So it's a good situation that he's walking into against a very weak opponent in New York.
Bill Barnwell on the decision to make Penix the starter with 3 weeks to go and the position that puts the Falcons offense in now.
Yeah, it creates some plausible deniability for what the offense is going to do. Yesterday, I gave the stat out. 23 of 24 plays on 1st and 10 last week were run plays for the Falcons. The other team knows what's coming if you only have your guy back there, not under center, not moving around. To Mina's point, Kirk Cousins had the lowest play action rate of any quarterback in football and the lowest out-of-pocket rate of any quarterback in football. 4% of his throws came out of the pocket. That's like 1/3 of the league average. And so just having a guy who can run a full offense for the Atlanta Falcons changes what opposing teams have to cover. Now there's the opportunity for the Falcons to expand their offense beyond what was a very limited scope with Kirk Cousins in the Pistons.
So headline, you think this could be successful, Bill Barnwell?
Yeah, I mean, they were not going anywhere with that version of Kirk Cousins, so it was worth taking a swing, and I think they have a good shot.
David Dennis Jr.
Kirk Cousins had a stretch of 0 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. We haven't seen that in 20 years. You quite literally cannot do any worse than that. So why not get a young guy out there who has functional lower extremities, which I think is very valuable to have if you are a quarterback. And so they have an offense, as everybody's mentioned, they have an offense that can work. I think it's an uphill battle for them. They probably have to win the next 3 games to make the playoffs anyway. But if you're going to start a quarterback, a rookie quarterback for the first time, the best place to do it is against the New York Giants. And you can't, that gives them a good shot to win the game.
And Tim Kalishaw.
You know, everyone has kind of said it, but what we didn't know after last year's knee injury and what the Falcons didn't know is that Kirk Cousins had moved into the final days of Ben Roethlisberger portion of his career, where all he can do is take a shotgun snap and try to throw it somewhere. He can't really execute an offense. Now, I would hesitate before thinking Penix is going to do too much right away. Think about Jaden Daniels' first couple games in Washington. It took him till week 3 or 4 to get going. Think about how Bo Nix looks now to what Bo Nix looked like in week 1 in Denver. This guy played 1 preseason game and hasn't really been on the field for 3 months. So he's lucky he's playing the Giants. I think that's by design they're bringing him in now, but I wouldn't expect
I
too
was
much.
racking my brain. We know rookies come in late in seasons. It happens. But to be in this much of a playoff chase this late in the season, you don't see it often. But that puts aside another part of this conversation, Mina, is the Falcons' position here with the money put aside for Kirk Cousins already. We're talking 9 figures is what the deal was. And the first-round draft pick they put in Penix. Going forward, is this a position they can still survive in?
Well, the fact that they are going to be allocating about $90 million to Cousins, they'll spread that out if they trade him, cut him, whatever, it hamstrings their roster going forward. Like if Michael Penix Jr. plays well, the pick is worth it, right? Because he is your quarterback of the future. But building a team around him is more difficult because of the other mistake you made. So they are in a tough position. But again, if you're a Falcons fan and he looks good, you probably don't care. You're happy.
Tim Calishaw?
You know, I think when you make that move, when you sign Cousins and then draft Penix, you know there's going to be some overlap somewhere. You didn't know it'd be this soon. But I think you're okay with it because you're underpaying Penix for 5 years, and you can live with a little bit of a big cap.
And Bill Barnwell, last word on this.
We've seen teams make it work. The Eagles made the playoffs with Jalen Hurts when they were paying off Carson Wentz's deal. Right now, the Broncos probably can make the playoffs with Bo Nix when they're paying off Russell Wilson. You don't want to do it, but you can do it if you have to.
You don't want to be at minus 501, but you can do it. David Dennis Jr., you took it great. We'll take a break here. Buy or sell. You still got a chance in buy or sell.
Minus 489. Thank you very much.
Ryan Day, Ohio State facing disaster or finest hour. Blake Topmeyer, USA Today, on the road ahead for Ohio State in the playoff and whether Day can make Buckeyes fans forget the Michigan heartbreak and learn to love again. Last week, Ohio State AD Ross Bjork, the local radio, said Coach Day is awesome, and he said he's absolutely confident Day will be back as head coach, whether you view that as a vote of confidence or a dreaded vote of confidence with a must-win game. Now, just 3 days away, Ohio State, Tennessee in the first round of the playoff. Mina, around the horn to you.
Yeah, look, Ryan Day is a very good coach. He's 66-10, but that's not good enough when you're paid the kind of money he is. You have a team as well funded as he is with that NIL money at Ohio State, and you've gone 1-4 against Michigan and 1-2 in the playoffs. By the way, especially seeing some of the success some of his players have had in the NFL makes me look at some of those playoff losses a little differently. I think he has to make a deep playoff run this year to save his job.
Deep playoff run. Must win and then must win again. Tim Calishaw, around the horn to you.
Yeah, I agree with Mina. I think every vote of confidence in Columbus is the dreaded variety. Okay. But just think about that record for a second. I know these games are different. 66-10. Just add a few games to that, and that's what, like the third best record in NBA history? And you would fire the coach who did that? That seems absurd when you look at it that way. I know 4 losses to Michigan is all it's about, but it still seems crazy.
David Dennis Jr.?
Yeah.
Tim, there's a list of things that Ohio State fans care about. I don't think NBA record is one of them. I think that what they care about is 2 things. One is, can you beat Michigan? 2, can you win national championships? Ryan Day got brought in to do both of those things. He hasn't been able to do those, especially losing to Michigan, recently. And so if you don't do that, they get you out of there regardless of how well you do at anything else.
So you believe he needs to win a championship this year, or he's gone?
I'm with a deep playoff run to make me feel like he can win a championship at some point soon.
Then, okay, Bill Barnwell, how about you?
the Michigan matchup matters more than anything else to Ohio State fans. I would argue even a national championship. Like, what does it matter if you beat Tennessee, you beat Georgia? Are you going to be telling that to your alumni, to your fans? I think the Michigan game is so important that even if they make a deep playoff run, I think Ryan Day is.
Even if. So wait, if he wins the championship, you have him out.
You can't be right.
If he wins the championship, they might give him another year. But that losing 4 times in a row to Michigan, losing to an unranked Michigan team, that lingers.
David Dennis Jr., by the way, you're gaining on Tim Kalishaw. I like what I'm seeing here. Buy or sell too, we're looking into it, and we're looking into it. Adam Silver, essentially, with State of the Game comments before yesterday's Cup final. He addressed criticism that there's too many threes in the NBA now, and he addressed the fact that ratings are down. Silver saying he wouldn't reduce the conversation either by calling it a three-point shooting issue or a lack of interest in the game issue, but many things. He also went further to say not all of it is negative. David, you buy or sell?
I'm selling it. There's just no way the league can litigate better shots. Bad shots from bad teams are always going to be part of the game. You move the three-point line back, people are going to be taking bad long three-point shots or bad mid-range shots. That's just what they do. The issue is when you have good teams that are shooting those threes, like that Dallas and Warriors game that broke the record. Those are entertaining games. The problem is when you have Bulls and Hornets missing 75 threes. That's the problem. That's always going to be there.
Yes, all right, but you agree that there's a problem. Bill Barnwell, around the horn to you.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are watching Bulls and Wizards, regardless of what the three-point
That's
rules
also
are,
the problem, Bill.
I mean, the NBA incentivized this, right? Like the NBA set up a system where a 18-point shot is worth 18-foot shot is worth 2 points, and a 22-foot shot is worth 3 points. That inevitably incentivizes players to take longer shots, teams to take threes more often. They have to push the line back. That is a logical thing to do. Surprised Adam Silver was not more open to it. Once you do that and incentivize players to take mid-range shots, you'll get mid-range shots in return.
Do people want mid-range shots? Mina Kimes, around the horn to you.
Yeah.
Man, between the champagne take and what I'm about to say, I feel like such an old man saying this, but I agree. I don't like watching teams just chuck threes all day. I would love to see more mid-range shots. I'm in favor of getting rid of the corner three, and I'm intrigued to see what is the next form of basketball after that, because as Bill said, when they change the rules, evolution follows, and sometimes evolution can be interesting.
And Tim Kalishaw.
People watch March Madness, and the college line has moved all over the place through the years, and even conferences had different lines at certain points. So I think that could help. But I really think the problem in the NBA is it's a second night of a back-to-back. Is Luka playing tonight? Is Embiid playing tonight?
I was wondering if
LeBron
anybody
playing
was
tonight. That's the problem when you come to
We've
ratings.
had bad shots in leagues before. You know, it wasn't like no one took a bad shot in the 1980s, David Dennis Jr. They did. Do you believe there's something else?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't litigate that out the game. They're going to take bad shots regardless of where the three-point line is. People just want to do it for more points now. It's not going to change anything.
More points now would be something. No, it's not happening for you. But think of it this way. This is the record. You have to rejoice in that. You came into today's show with the most points the entire year. You're going to the Tournament of Champions because of that. But you got knocked down a little bit today. That's it for David Dennis Jr. Now he belongs to the ages. And Tim Kalishaw, Mina Kimes, Bill Barnwell. Showdown next. Vic, no coaching experience at the college or pro level. It's a model we're seeing more of. Superstar player taking over school, hoping to make a jump and impact in the NIL era. Mina Kimes, Bill Barnwell, good luck in Showdown. Mina, you like the hire of Vic to Norfolk State?
I'm cautiously optimistic. The comparison to Deion Sanders seems clear. He started at HBCU before going to Colorado. It's not perfect, however. Deion had experience, and Jackson State was a bigger program. But we have seen star power matters a lot in the NIL era, and Mike Vick brings that in spades.
Bill Barnwell?
Yeah, understand it for Norfolk State, but if you're a player, do you want to go there for Mike Vick, knowing in a couple of years if he succeeds, he's probably going to Virginia Tech. I wonder with the Jackson State example, doesn't actually help Michael Vick because there's so many players left there who didn't follow Deion to Colorado.
Thought about it that way. Jackson State did win their conference this year. Mina, you said you were cautiously optimistic. Bill, it sounds like you're optimistically cautious. We'll give the point to Barnwell.
Yes.
Showdown 2, Kevin Durant on the new All-Star format.
I hate it. Absolutely hate it.
Other than that, Mr. Durant, how do you feel? How should the league feel that Durant hates it, Bill?
Not great, but there's no good way to do this. Adam Silver's already come out and said there's not really a way to play this in a competitive way. I understand making the game shorter, leaning into the Elam ending element. That was the most fun for the last few All-Star games.
Mina?
I'm inclined to agree. The rules are so complicated. You got a full screen graphic, and I'm still not sure I quite understand. But also, defending the existing format is a losing proposition because, well, let's just say it didn't have a lot of fans either.
You ever hear people say both ideas, two things can be true? Two things can be wrong right now. Not that you guys are wrong. That there is no answer or solution to what this is without, hello, people trying harder when they actually get to the game. Bill Barnwell, 30 seconds of FaceTime.
Very excited to hear that the NHL is having a separate ASL, American Sign Language broadcast for the upcoming Winter Classic. Did it last year for a game during the Stanley Cup Finals. It is a great addition. Of course, closed captioning exists, and it's super helpful for deaf and hard of hearing folks, but it is not the same. ASL is a fluent language. It is no different than listening to a song versus reading the lyrics of a song. Entirely different from just text and captioning. Very excited to see the teams doing this. Hopefully more of this around other leagues in the years to come.
Thank you for that, Bill Barnwell. Tomorrow, David Dennis, you'll be back, but you'll be at 0, and it'll be wonderful. We'll see you.